Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to read your astrology birth chart. The first time you look at a birth chart, it can be extremely intimidating because there's so many symbols and lines, and nobody knows what it means in the beginning. But when you break it down into its element parts, it's actually not that complicated. So I'll use my chart as an example. First of all, a chart is a literal map of the sky. A birth chart is a snapshot of what the sky looked like when you were born. So all of this is the sky, and this is the Earth in the center. The far left of the chart is the eastern horizon, and the far right is the western horizon. Therefore, all of the signs and planets turn in a clockwise rotation around the Earth. The top half of the circle is the visible sky from horizon to horizon. The bottom half of the circle is the sky that you can't see, that is visible to the other side of the world. This is why it's important to know exactly where you were born when figuring out your birth chart. The uppermost point of the chart is the high sky, or where the sun would be at high noon. So as you can see, the sun was just below the western horizon, so it had just set when I was born. In fact, most of my planets were below the horizon. If you looked at the night sky when I was born, you wouldn't see very many planets. We figure out the houses based on the 4 cardinal directions of the horizon, starting with your rising, which is always the far east. Now, even though it appears that all the planets are moving clockwise around the Earth, that's only because of the rotation of the Earth. They actually move counterclockwise through the signs. This is how ancient astrologers knew that the planets weren't just more stars, because they were moving against the grain of the rest of the stars. The sky is broken up into 12 sections, and those sections are called houses. They are denoted through these slices of pie that go through the middle of the chart, and they're numbered right here around the Earth. They make a full revolution once per day, so they move very quickly, and this is why it's important that we know the exact time of your birth when figuring out your birth chart. Because even a couple minutes can make a huge difference in your houses. This is why twins can be so different, because even though they were born close to each other and have similar charts, they're not exactly the same, because they were born a few minutes apart. All of these symbols that dot the outer ring are your planets. They show where the planets were when you were born and what sign they were in. All of these lines that connect the planets to each other are how they aspect each other. Basically how the energies of the planets are playing with each other, whether it's for good or bad. We figure out how they aspect by how many signs they are away from each other. For instance, if a planet is 2 signs away from another planet, it is squaring it, and the energies are not working very well together. But if they're 4 signs away, then they're trining, and that means they're working well together. If they're on opposite sides of the chart, like this, then they're in opposition, and they're working very poorly together. In fact, against each other. I hope that clarified some stuff for you guys. Go out there and study your charts.